For 2 years in a row, and to this point in the third, I, your anus tart, leather daddy, man inside you, reigning league champ, leads this league in points. I'm tied for the most medals with a couple commissioners who seem to prefer silver and bronze to gold, and I've won the most championships, the first and only to do so twice. So take a look back to that time 2 years ago when I started this domination. Who was it that had the second most points in the league? That's right, the man who thinks he's dominating us now, the man who's finally living up to his team name, and personally the bane of my existence, CJ. And how did CJ do in the playoffs that year? Oh, that's right, he didn't make the playoffs. Despite having the second most points in the league, he didn't make the playoffs. Ouch. I mean, having a losing record despite having the most points this year, I kind of relate. And I don't know if you read those fun little recaps that Yahoo gives us at the end of every matchup every week, but if we all played each other every week, I would be winning. And another fun fact, if you take the scores of my losing games alone, I would average more than anyone else, even those of you that are doing well, total average points. So, yeah. A lot of that's including that loss last week to Matt Z with more holes in his lineups than Swiss cheese. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Nice autograph, man. You're an autograph god. And speaking of autographs, Tommy, what's the deal with your team? I know some of that's dropping Eric Decker into my lap, but why is your mistake team so much worse than Matt's mistake team? You got to do something. He's going to edge you out. You don't want 2 years in a row of a Neuter Boodle title. 2 years in a row of a Neuter Boodle title. Guys, do you realize that in the past 3 years, Tommy and I are tied for the most medals? And did you realize in the past 5 years, both Matt and Tommy have won a championship? It's amazing how this league changes. Anyway, enough for the Neuter Booters. Let's move up to the 8th place guy, Justin. Nice video. Very humble, way to admit defeat, and it takes a big man to admit your team absolutely sucks. But hey, you still have a chance. You somehow stole Devonta from Heath, and you stole having the Cowboys running back from CJ, and maybe you'll steal a victory or two and steal a playoff spot. You got a chance. Next up in the rankings, Cream Puff. Thanks for the crown last year, and thanks for being one of the few I've actually beaten this year. I look forward to doing it again this week. I do fear the fact that you have the two best running backs in the league, but fortunately for me, nothing else. For a while there you had that nice Hilton, Luck, Moncrief, Colts stack, but speaking as a Titans fan, you can't just move that to any AFC South team. I can't quite recommend the Mariota DGB stack working out quite as well for you, but if history proves itself, you'll somehow have your highest point total of the year this week, so bon appetit. Next up, Face. Am I the only one that gets the vibe that you're going to be more proud if your precious baby little girl wins the championship than if you win it yourself? You seem so proud. How are you rationalizing this week's matchup? It hurts you more than it hurts her, right? And Kevin, you did it, man. You were sitting at 2-4. You gave a whiny little speech about how your team should be so much better, and next thing you know, you give CJ a spanking, and you've gone on a streak and haven't looked back since. You're in the playoff picture, man. And I don't see that changing. You got a nice team, but you came from far behind. I don't quite see you getting that #1 spot, and it's going to take all I got to get that #4 spot. So see you in the championship. And Heath. Remember that embarrassing loss I mentioned to Matt? The one time this year that I scored less points than that? It was against you. And it was enough to beat you. I am honored to be the only non-Newton to have defeated you this year, but unfortunately, I may have to let Kevin join that club this week. Hey girl, hey. Welcome to our league. You've already proven more prowess than your little brother Holt could have ever dreamed of, and you seem to have learned a thing or two from your dad with your drafting early in the draft of rookies. Good job with Amari Cooper, a little less so with Melvin Gordon, and either way you lose to Stevens Gurley, but with like 20 more moves on the waiver wire, catch up to face and make Daddy proud. And last but not least, the ever so proud league leader CJ, who's encouraging us to make such videos. Good job so far. My condolences to you for having your first overall draft pick of CJ fail. I feel the same with my flopping of Eddie Lacy, and my condolences to you for having your bread and butter running back with Randall go down. I feel your pain with Foster. Good job with your drafting of Seattle DST, in the middle of the draft. I mean, that's working out for you every other week. Good job drafting Larry Fitzgerald despite being an old man. I mean, that was working out for you for a little while. I mean, good job grabbing some random guy from the Cowboys backfield just because they have a good O-line despite him not being as good as DeMarco Murray or even guaranteed that number one spot. But hey, that worked out for you for a little while. And congratulations on snatching enough wins to lead the league right now, and I mean that's worked out for you. But unfortunately, that too is only for a little while.